Hello everyone, this video will be about losing a fight despite having a great chances to win it. This time we will be talking about Southpaw fighting Orthodox with great height and reach differences. So the first thing I have noticed in this fight that our heavyweight has relatively slow hands in compared to the Asian fighter. However, we can see that he's quite fast on his feet. Unfortunately, most of the fight he will end up eating most of the punches because he cannot stop chasing his opponent and running into punches. It is perfectly obvious here that he's actually hard to reach, but unfortunately, as we can see in the slow motion sequence here, he ends up running in most of the punches. This sequence here is another great example where we can see how hard the lightweight actually has to work to reach his head. You can see in the upcoming sequence that he has to overextend that much that he basically loses his complete balance in order to land a shot. And one more time here, you can see that he even does not see where he's punching at because this is how much he has to lean forward in order to land. Now, unfortunately, a heavyweight is not taking advantage of that situation. The height difference here is so huge that it would actually be enough for the heavyweight to turn away from the punch, even doesn't have to slip or move. Another thing we will see in that sequence is that a heavyweight actually has quite fast hands. The reason why he slows down is because he is punching out of balance. That means he overextends. If he would stay in his center line, so to speak, and only punch as much as he can reach without leaning, he actually has quite fast hands. You can see here that he is actually fast enough to keep up with him at a certain range if he does not overextend. A great strategy here would have been to take the air out of his opponent. And it's actually funny because one of the cornermen actually gave him this advice.
Hit him in his chest, hit him in his chest, hit him in his chest.
You hit him to the chest, he slows down and the whole game changes. You can see here one more time how easy it is actually for him to avoid being hit to the head. All he has to do is basically to turn away. And yeah, given the fact that his opponent did the mistake of head hunting most of the time. And one more time here, basically completely missed. All he has to do just to turn his shoulder. Basically, the whole approach should have been reverse, which means take out the air of your opponent, let him come, pull and counter, and punish him. It's another great example here. Once the southpaw throws his left hand, he actually cannot pull back anymore. If that guy misses one time, he ends up falling into that space where he was going to, and he wouldn't be able to come back that fast. So the taller guy would have more time than he needs to counter. Letting the smaller guy overextend and fall into an empty space basically means to turn his strengths into his weaknesses. That is because in the entire fight he basically relied on his speed and on his slickness, but he does not see how much he needs to overextend and give up his balance in order to reach. Another great fact is that the balanced fighter can still throw punches, while the fighter who is overextending cannot. He actually has to catch up balance and get back into his position before he can attack again. One thing he did right here for a few seconds is holding his guard a bit tighter. That basically makes him invincible from the perspective of the smaller guy, because body shots wouldn't cause much harm, and headshots basically impossible, as you can see here now. But then, of course, he dropped his hands again and kept on chasing, and this is where he just played by the book, being the taller and dumber guy, so to speak. If you like this short analysis, let me know in the comment section below and hit like and subscribe.